I never thought I'd have to do this one more time, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Before I do, though, I want to say there's a couple things about NBC Revolutions that I actually do agree with. Number one, I do agree that there is an inevitability where the power grid will simply stop across the whole world. I believe that. I believe the internet's going to disappear too. I believe that. Now, what exactly causes all of it and when it happens is anybody's guess. But mankind has a history. It's just like the Titanic. You have the unsinkable ship. Right? Wrong. That ship, that Titanic that was supposed to be so unsinkable, is now in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and 1,500 people are down there with it. Unsinkable? I think not. So, it is not the unsinkable ship. Likewise, this power grid was created by mankind. Mankind has never created anything that was just totally perfect and flawless. It just doesn't happen, because it's mankind. So, can we lose the electrical grid? You sure betcha we can. I know there's a lot of people that work on it every day, and I'm glad and I support them 100%. But even they will tell you, it can happen, and it's only a matter of time. Our society has become like the Eloi. It has become far too dependent on that kind of technology. And one day that technology will fail them, and then they're going to face a new nightmare. Okay? So anyway, this is actually going to go out to Andrew Moore. There's a fan page on NBC Revolution on Facebook, and his response to me was he was calling me a noob. He was telling me how much the Founding Fathers made it without electricity, and he was then telling me that the human race just simply wouldn't be wiped out. He's totally wrong, and I'm going to prove it right now. Okay? First of all, how many Founding Fathers drove around in automobiles, flew on airplanes, had totally clean water like we do today? Turn on the tap, you have totally clean water. At least you're supposed to. Some places they don't, but most places have pretty clean water. Okay? You know, of course, you're always going to have those rare exceptions, but most people's clean water, it's clean. They didn't have that back in the Founding Fathers' day. Shoot, there was 13 colonies. Much of the United States hadn't even been explored yet. Much of the United States was a forested area. Ask Lewis and Clark. It was beautiful nature. We didn't have all the systems that we have today. We didn't have all the cities that we have today. We didn't have all the people that we have today. So that's how the Founding Fathers survived. We won't. 25.6 million people in 2010 had diabetes. Whether it be type 1, type 2, it doesn't matter. And 1 in 3 men and women here in the United States has heart disease. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you what's going to happen if and when the power grid ever goes out. Within 1 hour, anybody in a hospital having surgery during a situation like that will be dead. 1 hour. They're going to be gone. No backup generators, no nothing. Are you kidding? They'll be dead within the hour. The end. They're done for. They couldn't stop the bleeding from the surgery. They'll have no resources to save the patient, and that patient will be dead. The end. 1 hour. So all those patients are gone. Within 7 days, most of the 25.6 million people with the diabetes, okay, the 25.6 million people within a week will also be dead. Why? No insulin. No insulin, insulin shock, they're done. Within a week. They're going to be gone. Currently, there are 11 million people in the state of Illinois. That means that the equivalent of the entire population of the state of Illinois will be dead within a week. Hospitals will become instant morgues. Instant. Everybody with a pacemaker will be dead within 24 hours of such a horrible mess. Remember, no power, no pacemaker. They're dead. Means you're going to see a lot of elderly people in pine boxes. That is, if you can get enough wood. Okay? We'll get into that later. But the 33% of the United States population that has heart disease will also be dead. No fish oil, no heart medication. Why? Because of manufacturing. No power, no manufacturing. They wouldn't be able to get the medicine to you quick enough. Within 90 days, those 33% of the population would be dead. Gone. Within 90 days. And let's not even talk about the people that are on kidney dialysis right now. They would all be dead too. It wouldn't take them 90 days. We simply do not have the equipment to do manual kidney dialysis. And remember, no manufacturing either, so it would take tons of time to make that kind of equipment. People will start to drop like flies. Sudden infant death syndrome, like that. A lot of newborns would be lost instantly. Okay? Now, no power, no clean water supply. So there goes your waterborne diseases. Ask London about that. Bubonic plague, you name it. All those wonderful diseases that we've practically eradicated will come back in a major way. And there'll be no way to stop it. Now, you got 4,000 airplanes up in the sky. Now, I have mentioned this in all 3 of my previous NBC Revolutions videos, and nobody takes this seriously. 4,000 aircraft across the United States at any one time, day or night, period. Now, I don't know whether you've been paying attention to the drought conditions, but whether there's a drought or not, 4,000 aircraft suddenly drop out of the sky, there's going to be 4,000 fires. Whether they glide down or they just simply spiral down and crash, makes no difference. They're going to crash, they're going to burn. So everybody riding in those 4,000 aircraft are dead instantly. Period. Now that's civilian aircraft. We're not even talking military aircraft. So all those military aircraft are going to go down too. So they're all dead. Alright. Now, when you got 4,000 airplanes creating 4,000 fires across the United States, I don't know whether you've been watching the wildfires across the United States or not right now. We have wildfires in the United States now. Can you imagine 4,000 aircraft creating that many wildfires and no way to stop it? Transportation would grind to a halt. Your trucks would be stranded on the highways. Your trains would be stranded on the train tracks. That's a disaster waiting to happen. Whether the fires get to those train tracks and those trucks, or whether some other natural disaster finally gets to them, one way or the other, some kind of disaster is going to get to these things. And there'll be no way to stop it. Okay? Remember, your trains carry ammonia, chlorine, hydrogen fluoride. Those are 3 volatile chemicals. Wildfires get to those, you're going to have plumes of smoke going up into the air. Poisonous gas everywhere. Oh, and let's not even forget about those refineries. Seen the 2 out in California that caught fire? What would happen if every refinery ended up on fire? Every one of them. And there would be no way to stop those fires. More toxic gas. More deaths. Now these wildfires would start taking away all our trees. No way to stop them. There goes your oxygen level. Now remember, there are people taking cruises right about this time. Military ships out in the sea. No power. They can't move. They're stranded on the ocean. They will die. Those that are successful to make it to land are still facing a lot of dangers. But after the 90 days are over with, and a third of the American population is wiped out, we still got problems. Let's say all this happens in the summertime. No power, no air conditioning. Anybody that's sensitive to air conditioning, that needs it real bad, their history gone. Alright? So, you got people dying of heat stroke or other heat-related illnesses. And then the storms come. Yes, the weather patterns do tend to change as the Earth rotates around the sun. So now you get violent storms. You don't know they're coming. You can't take shelter right off the bat. More people die. And those storms then release the toxic gases because they hit the trucks on the highways that had to be abandoned. And they hit the train tracks where the trains are, launching more toxic gas into the atmosphere. Nice. And whatever the airplanes didn't ignite in wildfires, lightning will. No way to stop that. That's more people dead. Hurricanes come up on the shore. No way to tell anybody. More people are dead. The death toll just keeps mounting and mounting and mounting. Within a year, probably the only survivors will be the Amish, because they haven't really relied on electricity like the rest of us. That won't last either. The government collapses. Are you kidding? All those wildfires, no more food because the food's being burned up by the wildfires? Starvation sets in. Now the winter comes. No more manufacturing. No more clothes. How are you going to manufacture the clothes quick enough for the remainder of the population? You're not. So now people are going to freeze to death. There aren't enough trees because they've been burned by the wildfires. There's not enough coal because you don't have enough people to dig the coal out of the ground to give it to the people that are going to need it for surviving the winters. Winters get cold. People freeze to death. More death. You start adding up the numbers, you begin to realize how bad this situation is going to get. And nobody's going to go to them hospitals anymore for anything, because they ain't hospitals no more. They are morgues. And there will not be enough caskets for all the dead bodies. They will have to be burned on massive scales. And that means more risk of wildfires. Because you don't burn the dead bodies, you got more diseases. And more deaths. And remember, the entire aqueduct system has now been shut down because there's no power, no aqueduct system. Lots of waterborne diseases, lots of brand new deaths. With the Amish being about the only people that probably will survive any of this, then you got a new problem. They have nobody to trade with. Remember, government's history now. Your money's going to be worthless. Shoot, you don't have to worry about debt anymore because there'll be no records. All that's on computers now. No computers, no power, no records. So nobody's going to know who owes what. They'll have to cancel all the debts then. Then again, there's no more money. Money's going to be worthless. Be about the first thing that'll be burned. How many people know how to properly barter? Not very many. The Amish do. Not very many others. Well, it's not going to be long, and even the Amish aren't going to survive. With all that disease, with all those wildfires, all that toxic gas, all those refineries burning out of control. Are you kidding? They're not going to survive. But it gets worse. Because you see, because our food supply has been so badly affected, and we, the United States, are a major exporter of food to those that are in starving nations, they're all going to die too. Yeah. Medicine can't be transported, even if it's even manufactured at all, which most people will have a manufacturing facility, so there you go. No manufacturing, no shipment of any kind of medicine whatsoever. Medical supplies will be wiped out virtually instantaneously. And seriously, outside of the Amish, how many people really do know how to hunt and fish and could survive that long? Not very many. So like I said, with all those numbers being put together, you can pretty much see for yourself that the United States and the rest of the world would not survive more than 3 years without power. The losses would be truly catastrophic. So that's the reason why I have a problem with this show. Shoot, are you kidding? Where are you going to get the seed to grow the crops? And what fields are you going to grow them in if they're all lit up with wildfires? Uncontrolled wildfires. And remember, if those wildfires get into major metropolitan areas, ask Chicago. They'll tell you. Remember the Great Chicago Fire? Yeah. Ask people about fire tornadoes. They'll tell you about those. So yes, it can be very, very, very bad. If you start putting all the pieces together, you're going to see that NBC Revolution is just nothing but a fantasy adventure. I do like the fact that they're going to have the survival skills. For those who do manage to make it 3 years, well, but as far as survival skills, I have no problem with NBC Revolutions. As far as telling people that the electricity will shut off and the internet will shut off, I have no problem with that. Remember, as all these people are dying, there's going to be more deaths because there's going to be no books. Only a few of us ever kept our books. And since we can no longer learn from history because all the books have disappeared, thanks to the internet, we are doomed to repeat it. And with all the looting that's going to go on, shortly after the electricity turns off, that's more deaths. No law enforcement, more deaths. Whew. Do you understand now what I've been trying to tell you? The whole earth would be dead in 3 years without electricity because we've become that dependent on it. There you go. There you have it. I don't think I have to tell you anything else. But go ahead. Try to prove me wrong. I think after a while you'll get discouraged and you'll begin to realize Ted was right all along. There's your answer. So why don't you crawl under the little hole you came out of and don't challenge me, because I just gave you the most comprehensive answer of all time. There's no way after I just illustrated all of this that the human race would last 3 years without electricity. It just wouldn't happen. The end. Alright folks, I will tell you more in a future video, so stay tuned.